Welcome. My name is Mike, and I would like to introduce you to VersionOne, an agile project management tool. VersionOne offers a variety of features, including comprehensive agile portfolio management, product planning, release planning, sprint planning, and tracking of stories and tests, analytics as well. In this demo, I would like to show you how to start a new project, how to add members, add items to a backlog, plan a backlog item, and track a sprint. We'll conclude by reviewing our sprint, closing our sprint, and generating reports. Let's get started by taking a look at VersionOne's website. Inside the website, you will find an abundance of information on the features of VersionOne, including demo videos allowing you to become acquainted with the platform. Let me show you the different editions of VersionOne. On the one end of the spectrum, we have a free edition that allows you to manage a single project with features like sprint and release planning, in addition to velocity reporting. Then there are two mid-tier editions offering additional features like multiple project and multiple team management. Lastly, Ultimate Edition offers all the previously mentioned features in addition to custom reporting, product road mapping, and other features. Let's sign up for a free 1-month trial of Ultimate Edition. To sign up, we provide information like name and company, which then allows VersionOne to send us a customized URL from which we will access the tool. We can now use the customized URL that VersionOne provided us to access the platform. After entering our username and password, we will be taken to the Getting Started page that provides us with numerous videos that teach us about VersionOne. What we want to do, however, is start a new project, and in order to do so, we must go to Administration and then Overview. Here we find the 4 steps to setting up a new system, including create a project, create member, assign member to project, and begin project. To create a new project, we navigate to the Project tab at the top. We can now add a child project to our system, which is located at the right end of the row. Let's enter a title. I'm going to enter rental car service product as a sample. The next step is to set up a sprint schedule. Here we could define a new sprint schedule by adding a sprint schedule, and we'll call it a name similar to our project's name, rental car service product schedule. We'll define a length of time of 14 days and this sprint gap of 0 days, which means that we're going to go back to back between sprints. We then need to select the rental car service product schedule, and now we're good to go. We could just set up the begin date and end date we anticipate. Press OK, and now we have a new project. To make sure we have the new project, let's look inside our system, and here we find the rental car service project. In addition to a sample that VersionOne included with our trial version, which is called company, and within the company it has a product, and within the products there are a couple releases. This shows us how hierarchical products could be. As the second step to configuring our system, let's add a new member. We follow the Members tab, which takes us to a list of all our current members. There are 2 ways to add a new member. First, we can invite a new member by providing their email address and optionally assigning them to a project. The second way to add one is to click on Add Member and providing all the members' information ourselves. Let's add a new member by the name of Jack Jones and also assign him a password. We could then assign him administration privileges consistent with a developer and provide his email address as well. Jack Jones is now in the system. The third step is to add members to our project. We stay within the Members tab, but instead of staying on the submenu option Members, we go to the Project Assignment submenu. Here we find all our projects, which we can expand, and a list of all our members. VersionOne allows us to drag and drop members into our project, or we can also assign several members to a project at once by selecting the members and clicking on Assign to Projects. We provide the project name we desire to place the members in and click Assign. We have completed the third step of configuring our system. Now let's go back to the Overview tab to see where we stand. We've created a new project called Rental Car Service Product and assigned it a sprint schedule. We then saw how we create a new member and how to assign members to the project. Our last step in creating the new system will be to begin the project. We can do so by either clicking Begin Project or by going to the VersionOne core application. At this point, I would like to note that we have been working in the administration settings, highlighted in blue, which have allowed us to begin a new project, add members, and assign members to projects. Moving on to the next step of beginning the new project, administration will no longer be highlighted in blue, and we will no longer see this navigation bar, nor will we see the VersionOne core application in red at the left. Here is our new view. As previously mentioned, VersionOne allows us to manage our Agile project in 5 steps. The first step is planning our product. Here we can build our backlog, add items such as epics, and even report issues. The next step in VersionOne is optional and allows us to plan our release by adding backlog items into a given release. Sprint planning allows us to examine past velocity trends when we add backlog items into a sprint. We can then plan backlog items by breaking them down into tasks. Sprint tracking provides an overall view of planned work for a given sprint. Then, in the last step, sprint review, we can view what our team has accomplished and address any remaining work. Let's now add backlog items to see how the product planning process flows. To add a backlog item, we navigate to the action menu above our list of backlog items, which is currently empty, and click on Add Backlog Item. We will add an item named Employee Inventory Manager. We see that it will be added to the correct project, but we cannot yet assign it to a sprint, team, or epic, since they have yet to be defined. Let's add our description. We can then add a point estimate that our team agrees on. In this case, we'll make it 10. I will assign myself as product owner and give this item a status of future and a high priority. Now that we're done, let's click on OK. In addition to adding regular backlog items, VersionOne allows us to add defects to the backlog. We do this by navigating to the Action menu and clicking on Add Defect. Here, we can provide a title. In this case, Error, Cannot Connect to Car Service System. We can then provide an estimate, add myself as an owner, status will be future, and a priority of medium. Click OK, and we see that the defect has been added to our backlog. Now, what I'd like to do is quickly populate our backlog list by clicking on Add Backlog Item Inline. We're going to add items like driver's license check, credit check, accounting integration, car recommender, and remote entry with mobile device. Our backlog is listed in an underlying rank order. We can change the order by dragging and dropping items. We can also sort our backlog by attributes like estimate and priority. To return to our rank order, we click on Reset Sort at the top right. The next step in VersionOne is release planning and is optional. We navigate to the Release Planning tab, where we have this view where we can specify a child project of our product. We'll call this Release 1.0. We specify a sprint schedule and then give the release begin dates and end dates. We'll click OK, and now we see Release 1.0 at the left. From here, we can add items from our backlog into Release 1.0. Let's move all the items by clicking on Move to Project and Release 1.0. We click Move, and now all backlog items have been entered into our Release 1.0. Another feature within release planning is release forecasting. Here, we can predict when our release will be complete by looking at historic trends of velocity. Since we don't have historic trends here, we'll put a projected velocity of 10 and stick with a start date provided. After hitting go, we see that based on our projected velocity and our remaining estimate of 34 points, we should be done by January 11th, about a month before our estimated end date. Let's now jump over to sprint planning. Now that we're inside sprint planning, let's add a couple of sprints. We add sprints by clicking on Add Sprint on the right-hand side and specifying a title. Let's keep this title Sprint 1 and keep the dates as if they've already passed. We press OK and see that the sprint has been added. Let's add another sprint with dates that are in between our current date. Press OK, and we see that sprint 2 has been added. We are now in a position to start adding backlog items to our sprints. But before doing so, let's take this opportunity to plan a couple of our backlog items by dividing them into tasks. Let's add tasks to the Employee Inventory Manager backlog item. We click on Plan Backlog Item and can now see that we could add tasks directly to this backlog item. We'll click on Add Task, and we're prompted to add a title to our task. Let's provide the title as Add Car to Inventory. I'll give Jack Jones this item and provide a detail estimate of 3. Let's add one more task. We're going to call this one Edit Car and Inventory. We'll assign owner to Lady G and provide a detail estimate of 3. We can exit this window now and could add backlog items to one of our sprints. I have added sample backlog items to Sprint 1 for illustration purposes. We see here the name of the various backlog items, together with their estimates. There is also a progress bar with an arrow above it that illustrates where in the sprint we should be. The blue color of the progress bar shows how many backlog items we've completed. This box also shows how many points of backlog items we've completed, that is, velocity. And we see here that for Sprint 1, our velocity was 18. This will be helpful as we plan out Sprint 2. Let's add some backlog items to Sprint 2. We drag and drop items, like so, and I'm going to add enough items to have an estimate of 20, which based on Sprint 1's velocity of 18, may be pushing us just a little bit, but may still be possible. The progress bar shows that we have yet to complete any of our tasks and shows we're behind schedule, as shown by the arrow. To track our sprint's progress, let's navigate to Sprint Tracking. Here, we'll see detailed tracking of all our backlog items, and can even expand the backlog items to include all the tasks within them. From here, we could click on Quick Close to close off tasks and progress through the sprint. Let's navigate to Member Tracking, where we can keep track of all our members and what they're doing. Once again, we'll expand the menu to see what backlog items and tasks each member is responsible for. Once again, from here, we could quick close any task or backlog item. Let's navigate to the next tab, Storyboard. We see here our backlog items on a storyboard, and we could drag and drop each item from column to column. Similarly, the task board allows us to drag and drop with tasks. It also displays each backlog item. Let's move some of these tasks over to complete and then close them so we can make some progress in this sprint. We click Quick Close, and we'll close off the backlog item as well. Let's do the same for driver's license check. Move task to completed, quick close them both, and quick close the backlog item. The last step in our product planning process is a sprint review. Once inside sprint review, we can see a lot of different details of our sprint. We see the estimate of the open items, our progress, which reveals that we're beyond the expected, and how many items we've closed, 13 points. We also see all our remaining items in the backlog and can expand that to see all the tasks. Similarly, we see closed items in the backlog and their tasks. Now that we're here, let's go ahead and close all the items to show you what it looks like. We'll close task by task and then close a backlog item, noticing that our progress has increased. We have no more open estimate items, and our progress is at the end. Closed estimate is 20, which includes all our backlog items. Let's close the sprint. There's an error message here, but when I refresh, we'll see that we have the desired outcome, that is, no sprint. We've come full circle in our product planning process. But as a last step, let's check out some of the reports that VersionOne allows us to generate. As you can see, there are a bunch of different reports that we can generate. There are executive reports, project release reports, sprint reports, member team reports, planning reports. Let's generate a project dashboard report. But instead of using our project, we're going to use VersionOne's sample project, which has a lot more data than ours. It's called Call Center Product. We'll click Apply, hit Go, and generate the report. We see a project burndown chart, an estimate trend chart, velocity trend, which is not great since it goes down toward the end, and test trend chart. Below, we have all the project members and a list of all the sprints. We have covered a lot of ground in this tutorial, yet VersionOne offers many more exciting features like customer ideas management and integrations with IDEs like Microsoft Visual Studio. I invite you to visit their website to try these for yourself. Thanks for your time, and I hope this tutorial will allow you to make a more informed decision when it comes time for you to find a new Agile project management tool.